Four best friends, Nora, Andy, the Lion, and Spice, have been labeled cool kids since they were young. The movie starts one fateful day when the kids are seen filling up their college applications. They get invited by some boys to visit a warehouse filled with dead bodies. When they ask the boys what they're going to do if they see the bodies, they realize the boys do not have any plan for such future calamity, so they feel it is going to be doom if they follow them. As a result, they reject the offer. 8 years later, they are now graduates of their respective high schools, and they immediately process their college admission. However, on their graduation night, they watch all their colleagues have a graduation party, but they weren't invited. They come to the realization that after declining the initial invitation to the warehouse, they have not received any further invitations to attend parties. Andy doesn't feel great about this, but it isn't like any other choices available to them. Soon they get admissions and scholarships to their respective colleges. Nora to Harvard, Andy to Dartmouth College, the Lion to MIT, and Spice to Stanford. They are in the summer, and they plan to use their entire summer break to work part-time for money. Hence, Andy works as a tennis instructor, while Nora works as a scientist in a laboratory, where she has a one-sided crush on her colleague, Erland. Spice works as an assistant chef, and the Lion is an MMA instructor for kids. That day at work, the Lion meets one of his students' aunt, who invites him to a party she is organizing. That is his first party, so he is excited. He meets with Andy and Nora later, and they talk about Andy's internet crush, a lady from India named Danya. Despite suspicions that Danya is a catfish, Andy insists that she's real and plans to visit him in the summer. However, high ticket prices require him to contribute towards the cost. They laugh at him, and Nora questions his ability to please a lady when she visits, given his lack of experience in that regard. Later, they visit Spice's kitchen and get to talk. The Lion tells them about the invitation he got to a party. Immediately, Spice and Nora refuse to attend, but Andy wonders what they will all gain from being left out again. He reminds them that they are entering summer soon, and there are several things they have to experience before getting to college. He persuades them to embrace a summer of yes, encouraging them to seize every opportunity and miss nothing. Each of them has their goals. Andy wants to learn how to satisfy a lady before Danya arrives. The Lion wants drugs experience. Nora wants a boyfriend, and Spice wants to release. The day after, Andy provides training for a group of ladies. Following the session, a few of them linger, and Gabby inquires if Andy offers private training. He confirms that he does. At home, Andy receives an email from Danya about her new swimsuit. He gets turned on and decides to satisfy himself. Afterward, they join the gathering, but upon their arrival, a sense of unwelcome permeates. Navigating towards the beverages, they concoct a mix for themselves. Following the consumption, their mood improves, but things take a negative turn as they also begin to indulge in smoking. Nora spots Erland at the party, and he invites her to join him. Meanwhile, Andy befriends some other girls who inquire about his talents. To their amazement, he discloses that he can effortlessly catch anything thrown into his mouth. Intrigued, they decide to put his skill to the test and confirm its authenticity. The Lion gives high Tai Chi lessons. Spice cooks for everyone. Andy gets asked by a girl to visit the room together, and Spice also gets asked by a girl to get intimate. In the room the girl Andy takes gets naked, but Andy has no experience. He confesses to her about his lack of experience, telling her he has to experience everything before the summer ends, and she promises to help him. Meanwhile, Spice can't wait for the girl to give him a handjob, so she gets pissed and leaves. The night ends well, and they meet the next day discussing their night's adventure. Spice informs them of the invitation he got from another party, and they are so glad. That day, Andy visits Gabby's house for her private lesson, but before he settles, she pushes him to the bed and seduces him. He eventually has his first intercourse, and she pays him. Andy meets with his friends later, and they see Nora getting intimate with Erland. He isn't comfortable with this idea, and before talking about it, he tells Spice about his new business of making out with married women and how he intends to save the money and send it to Danya so she can visit him. He returns to work, and after another of his training sessions, another lady walks up to him and requests a private lesson, and he accepts. In the next scene, Andy is seen making out with her. After this, several other ladies then look for him for his service, and he saves all the money. Some days later, they all meet at the mini golf station for their training, and Andy speaks to Nora about her relationship with Erland. Nora asserts Erland is her boyfriend, and he questions her about Erland's involvement with a teen. Nora gets pissed and walks away, but Spice confronts Andy, asking about his audacity to talk about the age difference when he is having intercourse with women about his mother's age for money. This creates an awkward moment in the car before they return to their respective destination. That night, Nora spends time with Erland, telling him about Andy's words. She inquires about their official status, and he confesses his love. They consummate their new relationship while Andy sends money to Danya, asking her to visit while praying she isn't a catfish. The following day, Andy visits Gabby with the issues in his mind, and as they make out in the bathtub, she hears that her husband is around. She immediately asks him to leave the house, and he runs out naked and drives away. That is also when the police notice him and he gets arrested. At the police station, the officer overhears another offender who is Andy's classmate hailing Andy about his mathematics skills and realizes Andy is good. He asks Andy to assist him in filling out his mortgage form, and Andy offers to help. Following that deal, the officer releases him without filing a case against him. In the next scene, Andy goes back to work, and his manager, Yako, addresses the incident of driving naked with him. Despite Andy's attempt to deceive, Yako discloses that he also conducts private lessons with the women, including Gabby, and notes that their previous instructor engaged in similar behavior. Despite thinking Andy would handle things intelligently on his own, his foolish actions nearly led to exposure. As a result, he must cease providing private lessons to avoid termination. Andy decides to stop private lessons. He also visits the beach with his friends, and Nora comes with Erland. He is pissed at Erland's presence, and he confronts Erland, which gets Nora pissed. They settle their differences, and he eventually apologizes to Erland. During the party, he receives a message from one of his clients for a private lesson. Despite his insistence that he has quit, he reconsiders and goes there when the lady offers him $1,000. However, since he is drunk, he mistakenly enters the wrong house and meets his former classmate Conch in the house. Conch is babysitting a child and invites Andy in. When he discovers Andy is coming from a party and drinking, he's shocked because the kids never did that in school. Andy discovered he wasn't formally invited to any school parties, but Conch reassures him that high school parties don't require formal invites. People just show up and enjoy. He further explains that no one hates Andy and his friends, and they were the ones who exiled themselves from all the high school fun. Feeling disappointed, Conch decides to make it up by inviting Andy and his friends to a summer dump party by the end of the summer. Joyfully, Andy departs and notifies the client that he won't be able to make it. Unfortunately, Gabby's husband sees his headband in his bedroom and reports him to Yako, who fires him immediately. That same day, the lion starts hallucinating at work due to excess drugs and gets fired. Nora also notices Erland's weird attitude towards her and overhears him speaking to a girl and asking the girl to visit him that evening. The three heartbroken friends meet at Spice's kitchen, and he consoles them, asking that they attend the dump party too. Suddenly, Andy receives a call from Danya, who is already in his city. He has missed the mail she sends, but he goes with Nora and then Lion to pick her up. He takes her to the hotel but feels uncomfortable. He visits the restroom to urinate and feels so much pain, so he rushes to the hospital where he finds out he has a yeast infection and is to undergo treatment for a week and avoid having any intercourse for the time being. Andy always tries to avoid Danya, and she doesn't feel good about this. They participate in the gathering, and amidst the event, Danya comes to the realization that Andy might have feelings for Nora, prompting Danya to distance themselves. The lion comes to meet her and they get intimate, while Spice also sees a girl to help him release. Out of nowhere, the spouses of Andy's clients show up just as one of the women admits to something while inebriated. Before confronting them, Andy confesses his love to Nora. He informs them that he has contacted a yeast infection as well, expressing regret. but they respond by physically assaulting him. The lion comes to his rescue and hits the men. After that, the police arrive. Nevertheless, the officer happens to be the individual Andy assisted with his mortgage. He releases them and even offers them a ride home. The other kids cheer them on as they leave. The summer ends and they all depart. Nora and Andy confess their love and they kiss passionately. Andy's parents take him to school, and before joining the queue, someone throws a meal into his mouth. Delighted, he joins the queue and greets his fellow students as the movie ends. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.